Hello, Pisces, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. This will be your weekly reading for the week of July 13th through the 19th. And during that time, we'll have a waning gibbous moon, and that's a really good time for self-reflection and rebirth, good time to make positive changes and get rid of bad habits and negative thinking and just kind of buckle down and work towards your accomplishments. We then have the last quarter moon, which comes in on the 18th or the 19th, depending on where you are. Or that energy might linger around a little bit. And that is a really good time for reflection, releasing what no longer serves us, and getting ready for new beginnings and kind of taking responsibility for your most recent actions and things that you've been up to. So pay attention to those moon energies as we move through the week. This will be an intuitive general reading for the energies that you may or may not encounter, Pisces. So, of course, please take what resonates and leave what doesn't for someone else. And your overall message for this reading: be bold and make the first move. All right, let's see what the Pisces Collective has going on for the week. As I'm shuffling, I would like to remind you, my weekly reminder this week is that you take some time to meditate this week. Not just this week, of course, but every week. But it's a really good time. If it's not something that you practice now, the waning gibbous is a really good time of just self-reflection and a calm time, a good time to work on working meditation into your daily routine. So, just get quiet and still your mind and just go within and explore for a little bit. If you already do this, you know what I mean. If meditation is not something that you practice, it's a good time to start this week. So even if it's just a few minutes, try to start doing that. I know when I first started, I'm very hyper, and some days it is very hard for me to settle down and do that. I use a lot of guided meditations on YouTube to help me with that, just having another voice there kind of guide me through. That definitely helps me a lot. But the more you do it, the better you get at it. So anyway, all right, Pisces, July 13th through 19. Be bold and make the first move. Let's see what you guys have going on this week. Your present energy, Queen of Pentacles. So looks like you're sitting in a place where, your material world is definitely under control, and you just have a really good understanding of the flow of everything. It's a good week for you to, like your house is in order, your bank account is in order, the material things of your life are in order, like the laundry's done. And so not only are you in a really good place of just kind of understanding and being on top of everything, but you can also see that in people around you and who's on top of their things as well. And be a guidance for those who are not, if they need that kind of help. The current situation that you are in is the Lover's card. So this could be something, something with a relationship. A lot of times the Lover's card does represent just duality if we're talking about yourself, but it looks like, we'll see as these cards come out what this means, but your current situation may be something having to do with your relationship. And let's see what these other cards say. The root of your situation is the Three of Wands. So this could be something, some sort of new venture, or maybe you're thinking about a trip, some sort of vacation or some sort of getaway, maybe just with your partner. So that sounds like fun, so where are you thinking about going? If that's something you are thinking about, drop me a comment down below. Let me know. Might be something that my husband and I plan. We might need to get a little getaway into. Need some ideas there. In your recent past, maybe you've been toiling away here with the Eight of Pentacles, that you've just been so focused on work and so focused on gathering those pentacles, and it's time to go spend a few of them. So I like this idea that you're thinking about travel. You're in a good place financially. You've been working hard, and be bold and make the first move. Maybe you are the one who has to even bring this up in your partnership. You might be the person that's like, hey, it's time for a little R&R. Let's get away and do something. Or I don't know, maybe you do something a little bit more bold, and you I don't know. I don't know if I would book something without my husband. Ours is such a scheduling issue. Anyway, be bold and at least make the suggestion. I'm going to say that. But let's not make any plans without the other person, unless you really know their schedule. That would be an issue. What's on your mind this week? The Hermit. So kind of going in, some inner searching, and it could be about this. It could be about, where is it that we want to go? You might just be thinking about this at this point. Where do we want to go? Is this like a relationship renewal situation? Do you want it to be romantic? Are you better at adventurous? And you might be just kind of going in for that inner wisdom to decide, what are you trying to get out of some time together with your partner. I know one thing that I will say, that doing something a little challenging. We went on a trip that was like a deep cave climb, is what a crawl, I guess, further beyond what you do in the tourist part of the cave with a guide. And it was just my husband and I. And I will tell you that it was so much fun. We had the best time. The guide was really good. It was very physical. Like I had to make sure I really had to get into shape to go do this trip. Like a lot of time at the gym just to make sure I felt comfortable doing these really, very slippery climbs. But when we did, there was a point at which, uh, there was this, we had to do part of this climb where my back was against a very, very slippery wall, and there was just nothing in front of us. And I got so scared. I thought, oh, what am I doing? We've got kids at home. I'm going to kill myself in this cave. I was just freaking out. And I remember looking at my husband and seeing this look on his face, like he had never seen me that scared before. And he was so encouraging, and he was like, you can do this, just one little inch at a time. You've got this, just do, and really totally walked me through it. And it was kind of a good renewal of, just something that we've never really experienced in our relationship, which was him seeing me just literally afraid for my life. So, and it made me realize, okay, he's got my back. If I'm ever in a situation like that, he's gonna scoop in and get me. So anyway, that little story just to say, what kind of trip do you want to go on? So either some adventure where you're kind of challenging each other physically and mentally, or do you want to just lay on the beach or maybe go to Vegas? I don't know. Think about that though. That's some good inner searching hermit questioning, I would say. What is just ahead of you? Oh, you're not going to believe this. If you get this card has been in this position, in fact, I am going to make a video this week. I'm going to start doing what I'm going to call the star of the week. And this week it'll be the Emperor, because he's been in not every, I'm going to say he's been in 10 out of 12 of these videos, of these readings. So, and in this position many, many times, like a few times. So just ahead of you is stability, control, the Emperor. This is being a leader. This is someone who knows how to get things done, someone who sticks to the rules, sticks to the regulations, knows what the structure of a thing is, but knows how to get things done. And that is in your future. And if that's the future of this trip and planning that trip, that's awesome. That's taking the role of the emperor in leading on planning this trip and getting hotel rooms and flights and all the things that you do to travel. So really awesome. And I mean, this is why tarot is so interesting. Why this card is coming out so much for everyone in different positions, like I said, but in this position many, many times. So I feel like that's something that's in the collective for people just to really kind of take a leadership role. This week of July 13th through 19th, for some reason, it's so, so interesting. And it's more often than not. So very interesting. In your advice position here is okay. So interesting position for this card, which is kind of a card of feeling kind of dissatisfied about what the universe brings you. But, let's not forget the full cups that we have down here if we're experiencing some sort of dissatisfaction. But the fact that it's in your advice position kind of makes me want to say, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Like, don't be too dissatisfied with something. And I'm going to say, if this does happen to be, like I said, planning a vacation, is that maybe there's some sort of deal or something that comes through, and it's like the deal of a lifetime, and you're like, I really didn't want to do. Don't don't say no to something that maybe you don't fully understand what the experience might be. Does that make sense? Um, that there might be something come up or something that your spouse wants to do, and you're like, I really don't want to do that, but maybe it's just time to do a trip like that, and you're going to get something out of it. I believe, it's travel. You're getting out of your element, you're doing different things, and it may appear to be maybe focused on something that you're not completely and totally interested in, but I guarantee you there's other things, and there's something in there in that trip for you as well. Does that make sense? Anyway, okay, beyond your control this week is the Five of Wands. So this may be some debate and discussion about this thing that maybe you're not completely happy with how the conversation goes there, and and you're going to at least kind of have a discussion and maybe a little debate about it. Get your words in. You've been working hard too, and you deserve some input on this as well. But at least take into account what your partner has to say. Why they want to experience something, as well, and so you can come to some sort of conclusion about what it is that you want to do together and what you both want to get out of it. What is your secret desire, or what you're trying to avoid? Is the Queen of Wands. So the Queen of Wands is the understanding of passion. Are you trying to avoid that? And maybe this is some passion that your spouse has. And here's the example for me. It would be that, before my husband and I have talked about doing like a European cruise, and he starts by saying, "Oh, all the World War II sites," and I'm like, "Oh, really?" Because uh, probably not up my alley to do that. To be on fields where yeah, so, if we could combine that with, seeing the big castles and seeing, some of the opulence and beauty of those European countries, okay. I couldn't imagine the entire trip being so focused on something I'm just not interested. I'm not very interested in history and historical sites like he is. So, in that realm, in the war realm. Now, in the royalty realm, absolutely interested in that. Just saying, is it your secret desire to be understanding of someone else's passions, or are you trying to avoid that? That's your big question of the week, and probably your big question when it comes to this entire thing here. So, in your outcome position, is there you are, just the so stable, and it's another four. It's 44. Do we have, oh no, you've got three fours. Do we have another one in there? Yeah, three fours in this reading. Look up 444 as an angel number. It's one that's very close to my heart. I experience it all the time. In fact, what was very interesting is when I said that, I happened to look up at my phone and it said 1 3, which is a four. So anyway, look up angel number 444 and see what that means to you right now. And especially in regards to this reading and this topic of maybe, like I said, thinking about some travel with your spouse, and how to come to the conclusion of where you want to go and what you want to experience. So, what is hidden from you this week, Pisces, is judgment. That's very nice. Let's not have judgment. Let's find a way to work together so that everybody gets what they want, right? Out of the same kind of trip. Um, if you have a husband that wants to go, or a wife, that wants to go just do something that frightens you, or you're just not interested in, you can do that and maybe participate in their thing a little bit. Let's work together, and then also find things that you like to do and participate in, and kind of share that trip, and you might learn something, you might experience something. I would imagine, I guess, if I had to go to a couple of World War II sites, and I would probably learn something, and probably be very touched by it. So not what I would choose to do. I would probably be fine with it, actually, and we wouldn't, we'd be out of our element, and that's always fun on a trip. So, all right, final message here from the Soul Oracle deck. Final message for Pisces here: be patient. Yeah, just be patient, and be patient as you're having these conversations, and listen and be open. I mean, really what it's all about is spending time together. It's not really about what you do or what you experience. I mean, that can be very important depending on if you have those kinds of goals and aspirations, but just be patient. It's okay to do something too that your spouse is more interested in, and just find ways to sprinkle a trip like that with things that you both like to do and make those little sacrifices, right? All right, this is the self-care wisdom cards. We're going to pull a self-care card for Pisces. What does Pisces need to do to take care of themselves this week? And the card that comes up here is success. Look how pretty these cards are. Today is a really good day. You're in the flow, problems are solved quickly and easily. Helpful people show up for you, and unexpected gifts fall into your lap. So, remember what I said here about maybe some sort of special that comes up, like maybe it's a special on a trip to Vegas, a special flight situation, and you're like, I don't want to go to Vegas, but maybe you do. Maybe there's something else to do there as well. So, Pisces, I wish you the best of luck with this. I'm very curious to know if this comes up for any of you, or any of you planning a trip with your spouse or your partner. Again, be bold, make the first move, at least mention it. Start talking about it, but be patient, especially when talking about with the things that they want to do too, so that you can find a good happy medium. But anyway, if you're comfortable sharing, of course, drop me a message down below. I would love to know who's planning this. This might inspire me to plan something like this as well. So I do hope there was something in this reading that you can take away and use. I post weekly readings, so come back next week and we'll see if this energy continues or if there's something completely new here for you. Also, if you like my reading style, it would be great if you would like and subscribe to my channel. It would really, really help me. But most importantly, Pisces, it'll help you find me next week. So thank you so much for joining me, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.